If you don't have these two core optimizations set up, pause your campaigns now. Otherwise, you're just burning budget. I'll show you exactly how we fix this. And as a bonus at the end of the video, I'll show you a few core things that Google uses to drain your budget secretly. I know these problems deeply because my company audits and manages Google Ads for small businesses every single day. We see accounts burning thousands of dollars every single month before even coming to us. And we're not just talking about theory here. In this video, we'll show you exactly what to do to get your account to stop burning money. This is exactly what we do for our clients in the agency to plug profit leaks and scale campaigns efficiently. So let's jump onto my computer and get started. In order to get the algorithm working in your favor, you need to actively tell it what not to do. So here's the first and most important optimization to do every single week. Optimization number 1. The search terms and negative keywords. This is your absolute bread and butter for saving money and tightening your account for profitability. The biggest mistakes advertisers make is confusing keywords with search terms. Keywords are the concepts or terms you bid on. Search terms are what the customers are actively searching when your ad appears. If you're running broad match, Google will eventually show your terms to irrelevant customers because it matches the keyword as a broad term to your competitors, things that are relevant to you in a slight degree, but not your core service, your own brand, and all kinds of other junk traffic that's just not right for you. So you must go into the search terms and routinely review what the customers are typing in against what you're bidding on to make sure that you're actively showing up for terms that are relevant to you. So for example, looking at my screen over here, we can see that this is the keyword that that we're actively bidding on, and this is the search term that people have typed in. You'll see that things like property for sale was matched against things like private property for sale, which is essentially people not looking for a real estate agency, or things like cheapest. Now, if you see there's terms here that are not relevant to your company, so for example, things like cheapest, or for example, East Reality, which is a competitor, you want to look at adding the negative keywords. Now, with negative keywords, you want to make sure that you're using the root cause here. So you want to make sure that you're getting as closest to the main incorrect term. So in this scenario, it is cheapest. So if you do a broad negative like this, it means that any term containing cheapest will be excluded. Whereas if you look at something like East Reality, you want to do it as a phrase match, because East may be a directional or a suburb or a street, and Reality would compete against the brand name as well. So you want to make sure that you're using the correct negatives there. Once you've clicked saved, a little tip is you just want to re-add it again so that in the report it comes up as excluded to the exact term. Before we move on to the second optimization, a quick reminder: if you want to keep learning how to dominate Google Ads and lower your CPA, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Optimization number 2, keyword edits and optimizations. You can't just sit and forget your keywords. Data changes the way the keywords are performing and continually show that certain terms perform better or worse than others. So you need to actively audit your keywords to see what's driving revenue and what's costing you money and not performing. Now, if you sort your keywords by cost, as we'll do over here, you'll see the top keywords that are performing at a cost level, or the ones that are spending the most money over a certain time period, alongside the relevant conversions as well. Now, I'll give you a rule of thumb here, but with a big caveat. We don't love blanket rules because timeframes are always relevant to your budget, account structure, and industry. So treat this as a starting point, not a hard rule. That being said, you should always look at your keywords at a 30, 60, and 90-day time frame to make sure the decisions you're making are correct. Comparing against those timeframes stop you from making knee-jerk reactions and help you spot the difference between a keyword that's genuinely underperforming and one that's just having an off week. Let's look at a real example. So if we have a look over here, you'll see that we have our cost columns segregated, and we know that the certain keywords are underproducing relative to the average. So if we go down the bottom here, you see the average cost per conversion is $48.45. Now, if you have a look at the cost column, you'll see that this keyword here, buy house Tauranga, this one spent 133.90 with no conversions. This one spent 90 for 1, 77 for 2, and 74 for 0. So what we want to have a look at is the ones that have spent 2x the average. So in this scenario, anything above $97 rounding up, you want to look to exclude at the 30-day time frame. So just checking here, if you look at this one here, this one here, and that's about it. So second, to check that again, go cost per conversion high to low, and you'll see that you've got this one here. The very next one is under that threshold by a relative amount. So what you then want to have a look at is that these keywords stay consistent over the time frame. So if I change that to the last 60 days, I'll see that this keyword spent 154 and generated still no conversions, whereas this one down here still spent 90 and generated 1 conversions. Now again, checking the cost per conversion perspective, it is still the worst performing keyword. Now again, looking at the last 90 days, you'll see that this buy house in Tauranga has dropped down to $70 per conversion. So although it's had a couple of rough months in the last couple of days, it is performing over a longer time period, whereas this one down here is still sitting at 90. So if we go cost per conversion high to low, we can see that this keyword is still an underperformer. This keyword is doing okay, so we'll ignore that. And this keyword has popped up on our radar here. So just double checking that one in the last 60 days, you can see that it's then immediately dropped out. So with this one here, homes for sale in Tauranga, it is over the threshold at a consistent rate, and therefore we're going to pause it. Now this particular keyword, buy house in Tauranga, is definitely high on my radar. The first thing I'll do here in this scenario is I would check the quality traffic, make sure that it isn't continuing to underperform. And next month, if it's still performing poorly, I would look to exclude it or pause it. So the core thing here is don't get emotionally attached to keywords just because you think it describes your business well. If the data shows that it spends money and doesn't perform, and there are other keywords that are performing, there's no reason to not pause it. Additionally, edit your match types. So if you find a keyword that's performing at a phrase level, double check that the conversions aren't assigned to the exact variation of the search term. Sometimes you'll find they perform at a better cost per lead in the exact format. So if we look at the keywords over here, you want to have a look at the conversions, and you want to go segment by search term match type. Now, what that'll show you is the amount of money, leads, and costs spent on the exact version versus the phrase version of the search terms. If we keep coming down, we'll see this keyword here, property for sale Tauranga, that's generated 5 conversions overall at 75 per conversion. 3 of them is at the phrase and 2 of them at the phrase at essentially the exact same rate. Whereas you then go down and you see things like property for sale, whereas the exact version has cost $2 and the phrases cost $60. Now, you want to make sure that you're doing these numbers off of volume, because when you're looking at 1 and 2, it's not a significant amount of data to make such a strong decision on. As always, we want to make sure that the breakdown of search terms, search term match types is always looked at a 30, 60, and 90 day as well. For example, if you look at the property sale Tauranga, you'll see that over the last 30 days, the phrase match has generated 71, whereas the exact version has generated cost per lead at 35. However, as we expand this timeline, we'll see that gap slowly and surely closes up. So when you're making decisions, always check on a long time period. But if you find that there are ones that are overperforming in their phrase match variations, you can always go here and edit the match type. Now, trick here is to keep the original variation and pause it. so that you always have a reference point of what the phrase version was doing prior to the switch. If a phrase match is bringing in too much broad traffic or too much garbage intent, changing it to an exact match will tighten the way Google matches your terms to ensure that when you change it, you're getting higher quality traffic. Again, remember, if you have a look at our search term results, you can always see here how Google is considering their matches, whereas it's an exact match or a phrase match. So this will let you see if you're excluding a bunch of traffic that is the phrase matched variation, you can always look to match it to exact and tighten that traffic. So as a bonus, the last thing we want to look at is the auto recommendations and the opt-out features that will allow us to better manage the account without Google turning settings on and ultimately destroying your results. So if we have a look over here, if you go to your account as a whole and you go up to the top here and you go to, so make sure you're not in a campaign like I was because you won't find it. Go to auto apply settings here. So this will show you all of the settings that Google ultimately turn on to destroy your account. Now, we'd recommend turning them all off to make sure that you have complete control of your account and what you do and don't do. But a few of the ones that really affect your campaigns is the improving search responsive ads. This will add headlines and descriptions that you don't agree with. Removing redundant keywords. This will pull keywords out that Google believes are conflicting. However, they don't look at the cost per lead and therefore they can turn off really good performing keywords. The next thing is adding new keywords in and adding broad match keywords. Now these will expand the keywords that are in your account and ultimately leave you with no control over the type of traffic you're getting and the search terms you're matching against. As mentioned, everything else you can have a look for yourself, but we'd recommend keeping it all off. The second thing to watch out for draining your budget is you want to look at the network inclusions. So if you go down to your campaigns and you look at every individual one, you want to make sure that the network tabs are unticked. If you leave these ticked, your high intent traffic campaigns will stop showing on Google only and start showing on their other networks. So your random websites with display ads and all sorts of unqualified traffic, your clicks will go up, your click-through rate will go up, your leads will go down, your cost per lead will spike, and ultimately your high intent campaign will start to deteriorate. So make sure these are unticked so you're not wasting money on these underperforming networks. Now, auditing your keywords, checking your search terms, and locking down your networks is crucial. And trimming the fat on your keywords is just going to stop the bleeding. It doesn't automatically scale your account or automatically fix a bad structure. So if you want an expert team to check out your account, show you exactly where the issues are, how to fix them, and what to do to make your campaign a successful one, actually focus on deals and revenue rather than clicks and impressions, click the first link in the description to book your free audit today. But if you want to do it yourself, and you need to know exactly what to do to set your campaign up to dominate in 2026, you need to watch this next video right here. I'll walk you through the exact process that we use to scale our clients' accounts from scratch. Go click that video right now and I'll see you over there.